Hey fandom, how's it going? So this video has been one that's been coming for a long time. You guys have been asking me to do this. You guys have been asking my general thoughts of this. I actually have had a good amount of you want me to talk about this. So I'm going to be doing a reading order for Grant Morrison's Batman run, as well as a general overview of it. I cannot give you a solid review because I still have not finished the run. I am making my way through the Absolute Edition of Batman Incorporated for the first time, so when I do have that, I will be sure to post up a review of that, of Absolute Batman Inc. So, let's get to it. Now, the first thing that you're going to want to get for Grant Morrison's Batman reading order is Batman and Son, which is actually the introduction of Damian Wayne into the main DC Universe continuity. What happened was that in 1987, a comic book came out called Batman Son of the Demon, and in that issue, Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul had a relationship, and eventually they had a son that Bruce Wayne never knew about until Grant Morrison kind of mined the history of Batman and brought him back to the present day. So basically he shows up at Bruce Wayne's doorstep and says, "Hey, I'm your son." That is the introduction of Damian Wayne, and it's in that issue. After that, you're going to want to jump on to Batman the Black Glove. And basically that introduces the villain, the Black Glove, the crime organization. And it also introduces kind of this cabal of heroes that's going to play a larger part later on in the story. It's really interesting stuff, and it's really great stuff. And again, what you're going to notice throughout this run is that Grant Morrison is mining Batman's history, and he's taking bits and pieces of it, kind of like the best guys do, like Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore. Only in my opinion, Grant Morrison isn't as good at it as a lot of these other guys, because he just pulls stuff and it really doesn't give any exposition or any context to this thing, which we will discuss later on in Batman R.I.P. So yeah, you're going to want to get those two books that I just listed, Batman and Son, Batman the Black Glove. Or you can just pick up this deluxe edition right here, and it actually contains those two trades inside of one thing, so you just get Bing Bam Boom in one single thing for 30 bucks. Nice little hardcover. It contains the first 2 volumes of it.
Now, if you know anything about my videos, you know that I really don't do spoilers. I don't really like them too much at all. I think it kind of ruined a lot of the surprise for my fans and my subscribers and everything like that. But I gotta warn you in this one, I kind of go into heavy detail of Batman R.I.P. So if you don't want to know anything about it, just know that that's the next hardcover that comes out, and then you're going to want to skip ahead a few minutes. If you do want to listen to my rambling about Batman R.I.P. and some of the issues that I have with it, and me actually sounding like a crazy person, because some of the stuff that I'm going to spit out, believe me, you are not going to want to believe, but it does happen in the book. So, with that said, enjoy.
Now this is where things start to get a little bit complicated when you get into Batman R.I.P. As the story starts, Batman and Robin are perched on top of a building, and Batman proclaims, "Batman and Robin can never die." The story then flashes back to 6 months earlier, where Dr. Hurt, yes, Dr. Hurt, that is what his name. I don't know why anybody would want to visit a guy named Dr. Hurt, but hey, you know what it is. Dr. Hurt proclaims that they are going to go do an all-out war on Batman, and that they are in total focus on his destruction. Now, in this story, Batman is also in a relationship with a young woman named Jezebel Jet, who eventually finds out that he is Batman. Jezebel Jet, to me, is probably the worst girlfriend in the world, because she's saying, "Hey, do you think you're maybe a little bit crazy, and the fact that you're becoming Batman is because you have a psychological breakdown when you were a child, and maybe you should give it up. And you should also come to this party with me where all these people that they don't like you will probably try to end your life." And at that point, everybody, including the reader, probably thinks, maybe she's in on this whole conspiracy with the Black Glove. Maybe. At this point in the story, what eventually basically happens is that Jezebel Jet does a trigger word inside of Batman's mind, and she says Zur-En-Arrh. And what happens is that Batman passes out, and Dr. Hurt captures Batman, buries him 6 feet below, and basically says, "Hey, you know what, he's never going to get out of here." Which, if you know Batman, he's the greatest escape artist of all time, so he eventually does get out of there. And basically what happens is that he comes out, and he is full Batman mode. And what happens is that Batman actually programmed his mind, yes, he programmed his mind in this story, to, if something were to ever happen to him, the trigger word would be Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, and he would go on full Batman mode. No Bruce Wayne, just pure Batman. Bruce Wayne in his mind is not there. And it sets him off on this huge tirade against Gotham City, where he goes against this one-man war against crime. It is crazy stuff, and Grant Morrison is mining basically 1950s comic Batman, where Batman was actually transported to a planet called Zur-En-Arrh to fight robots. This was in the 1950s, and Grant Morrison is pulling stuff out of there for this run. He is mining stuff like crazy throughout this entire run, and to a certain extent, it really doesn't work all that much, because he doesn't provide enough context for it, and he doesn't provide enough exposition, in my opinion, for it to work, especially in Batman R.I.P. And you're probably wondering, man, you're giving a lot of this story away. I am telling you this right now because it gives you a little bit more context than what I had when I had to read this, and I actually had to do a lot of research myself. During his time as Batman of Zur-En-Arrh, when his mind is all crazy and everything like that, he is actually taking advice from the character Batmite. Folks, I cannot make this stuff up. I'm sorry if I'm giving too much away, but oh man, I'm probably going to even actually put a spoiler tag in this. But he's taking advice from the character Batmite, which is a classic Filmation cartoon from the 1970s. And Batmite is basically the Mrs. Pitalik, I can't even say the word right now because I'm laughing so much, of that time period. He's basically like this little sprite. I'm going to post a picture of him in here, and he loves Batman and he worships him. And in Bruce Wayne's mind, he's seeing him and he's getting advice from him throughout the rest of this story. Oh my goodness. For the sake of spoilers, that's all I'm going to give else away of Batman R.I.P. I'm going to say this was a bit of a convoluted mess. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. This isn't a real review of it or anything like that. I'm going to give more of a solid review later on in the future, but that's Batman R.I.P. Let's move on to the next book in the series. Now, what you're going to want to read next is Batman, Time, and the Batman. And basically what this is that this tells what happens to Batman during Final Crisis. So you do not need to pick up Final Crisis. I haven't read Final Crisis. I didn't need it. I read this, and I was perfectly fine with it. You read the Batman R.I.P., the missing chapters that are included in here, and it not only concludes the story of Batman R.I.P. that should have been in here, it concludes that, but it also fills you in on what happens during a Final Crisis, and it leads up to the events of Batman, the return of Bruce Wayne, and Batman and Robin, which is the highlight of the series for me. Alright, so now that we've made it through Mordor and I've taken you through the gates and all that stuff, it's time to get to the really good stuff, Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is undoubtedly, for me, the highlight of this series. I absolutely, really do love it. I think it's really great stuff. It's so much fun. And basically what happens here, and it's a lot easier to understand, is that Dick Grayson has basically taken over the mantle of Batman, and he's teamed up with Damian Wayne, and they go on these various adventures, and it's just so much fun. It introduces one of Batman's most horrifying villains, Professor Pig, which he does some things with the faces, and it's just really creepy, and it's so great, and it's a really fun, just a blast to read. And to be honest with you, I could have read 70 issues of this. I really wish he would have kept going just with this initial premise, because I really do think this is undoubtedly the highlight of this series for me. Just a blast all the way through. With art by Frank Quietly, who kills it on the first few issues of this. It's just fun, it's fantastic, and it's just great classic Batman stories. So definitely get to this part. It's worth it. I'm telling you right now. You know what? I would even say if you just want to skip to this part, it's perfectly fine. You are going to be missing some context clues, but I think you will be fine and you will really enjoy this a lot. You're going to want to read next is Batman the Return of Bruce Wayne. And basically what happens in Batman the Return of Bruce Wayne is that Batman is going through time. He's being flung through the time stream, and now he's going through these different time periods, such as the prehistoric time, pirates, the witch hunt time, and basically he's trying to make his way back home and trying to remember who he was. On top of that, the Justice League is trying to prevent him from coming back because of the fact that if he does, he's carrying so much energy through the time stream that he will undo everything and undo the entire universe. You know, it's not bad. It was a solid read. You get cameos by characters like Vandal Savage, and if you're looking for a good time and you want to know what happens to Batman in his time away, this is definitely something you need to pick up, and you can read right through it and you will be perfectly fine. And it's, you know, it's a solid read. Grant Morrison kind of kept it together throughout this, and I understood most of what happened in it. Now, it's at this point in the story that you get to the final volume of Batman and Robin. You pick up Volume 3 now, and you finish up the series, and this concludes kind of Bruce Wayne coming back and taking over the mantle again, and it begins the start of Batman Inc., which later follows on in the Batman Inc. series. And this story basically is kind of the bookend for what Grant Morrison has been doing throughout everything that I've just explained throughout the gauntlet that we just went through together. And basically it ends Dr. Hurt's storyline here. It's really a good read and it's really a good conclusion. And to be honest with you, I really do wish that he would have kept going with the Batman and Robin premise of Damian and Dick Grayson being a team, because that was really, for me, like I said before, just the highlight. It's so much fun and it's so great, and it actually deals with the Joker in here. So at this point in the story that you have several options to go with. You can get the Absolute Edition of Batman Inc. that'll conclude the entirety of Batman's run, But basically what you want to get is just Batman Inc. at this point. You can get the trade paperback or the hardcover that's come out, and you get Volume 1 of Batman Inc. that is set in the pre-New 52 universe, and then you get Volume 1 of Batman Incorporated that is set in post-New 52 universe, and Volume 2, and that ends his entire run on the character. Batman Inc. is just a lot of fun, really. I do enjoy it so far from what I've read. Again, I have not completed the run yet. And basically what's happening is that Batman has decided that he has come out and said, hey, look, I'm Bruce Wayne. I've been establishing Batman for years. I've been secretly funding him. I'm not Batman. I've just been secretly funding him for years. And this is what's going on. We have started Batman Incorporated, and we're going around the world, and we are going to set up foundations and different people to take up the mantle around the world. You've got like the Batman of Japan, the Batman of Argentina, different things like that. It's really fun stuff. And really, when Grant Morrison started out his run, his initial premise was that he wanted to take Batman into a more fun, globe-trotting adventure. And it only took him 4 years to get to that point, but he got to that point eventually, and it's the end of the run. Now, controversy has been said a few times that Grant Morrison was actually pretty mad when they decided to reboot the New 52 universe, and you kind of notice it because Batman Inc. really just doesn't care. Even though they renumbered it and put it in the New 52 universe, Grant Morrison didn't care. He was still using the same continuity from the pre-52 universe, which is, in my opinion, why even though some of the fallout does take place in New 52, I kind of consider it in the pre-52 universe. Just me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the entirety of Grant Morrison's Batman run. I hope I've been able to help you out with this. Oh my gosh, I need Advil because that was some really weird, convoluted mess to go through, to be honest with you. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was a lot of fun. Check out my other stuff. I do weekly reviews of hardcovers and trade paperbacks. If you've read Grant Morrison's Batman run, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Love to hear back from you. You guys are awesome. Bye.